Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Takeout Effect, brought to you by Business Takeout. The, the Takeout Effect brings real conversations in business. I'm your host, and my name is Banki. Today's guest has been in the music industry for quite a while, and we'll get to learn all about Mr. Benjamin De Graaf. Um, Hi, Benjamin. Welcome.
Hi, Banki. Thanks for having me here on the Business Takeout.
Yeah. For everyone that's tuning in, please like and share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Takeout Effect brings real conversations in business, and it's brought to you by Business Takeout. Business Takeout is a nonprofit. It is a social enterprise that really provides business resources to Black entrepreneurs. So thank you so much for tuning in. Benjamin, tell us about who you are, and I love the setup. Let us know about who you are and what you do.
For sure. Once again, thanks for having me on here. It's an honor and privilege to be able to share my story, share what brings me a lot of joy. So my name is Benjamin De Graaf. I do three things. I'll explain them very quickly. The biggest thing I'll end on. So I'm a DJ. I have been in the event industry for actually 20 plus years, and went from party promotion, community organizing, and about under 10 years ago decided to realign my focus to do weddings, corporates, and private functions. So that's one thing I do. Prior to COVID, I do probably about 150 events. I'm also a DJ coach. I run a DJ academy. I teach private lessons, one-on-one, small group. It's a lot of fun. If you're interested to learn how to DJ, please hit me up. Date night ideas is we could do it. And then the last thing, which I'm really excited about, which I think the pandemic has got me to shift and really put more of my focus on, is I'm the creative lead for a TDSB approved program. It's called the Love Music Initiative. And what we do is we go into schools, communities, work with corporate groups, do staff trainings for teachers. And what we do is try to make learning more fun and connect it through an arts-based lens. We do
Amazing.
DJing. Thank you. We do DJing, drumming, dance, and spoken word. So that's what we do.
Perfect. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. We're just going to start from the very beginning. You
Sure.
said you've been in business in the industry for over 20 years. Let us know how it all started.
Um, it's interesting. I can tell two stories. I'll tell the event side first, which
Okay.
actually which got me into DJing. So I think on the event side, I feel like I've always just had a knack for being able to systematically see things, kind of like the Matrix, like just see things in a certain order or context. Particularly when it comes to an event, it's like the sequencing, the planning, the flow, and I applied for a few different jobs. I remember many, many moons ago.
Mhm.
And I remember like the rate of pay to get in at that time, like I'm so dating myself, but like we're talking like 20 years ago, it was like 28 grand. And I was like, I feel like I'm worth more than that. And I also know that
Mhm.
someone with at that time, basically not even finishing high school could start at Rogers or Bell for 32 grand a year.
Yeah.
So I worked a lot in community, and I just decided to give myself experience on the side, and I planned parties. I got involved in different initiatives. I helped people planning various aspects of like weddings and other private events. And then as I continued on that journey, the types of events that I got involved in became bigger, bigger, and bigger to the point where it was planning for brand ambassador campaigns. Some of the clients I worked with were Reebok, were Nike, were Adidas, perfume companies, and then doing a lot of things in the corporate sector, trying to help them reimagine how they can make a very typical rigid robotic event and kind of add a little bit more flair and make it a little bit more personable. So sometimes we'd have DJs, sometimes we would just do different things with music, and so that's kind of how the journey began. The last thing, which kind of brought me into my other passion, which is for many people, they know me as a community person, but also as a promoter. So for many years, myself and three other gentlemen, we did a party in Toronto called Grown and Sexy. and
Mhm.
the party really grew. I got really involved with the DJs in terms of planning and programming in the evening. And what ended up happening during that time was that with technology, unlike the old school records, you can actually see what the DJ would bring up on the computer. So sometimes I would say, instead of putting that song on, put this song on. And when I saw the reaction that my song choice got, obviously knowing that it wasn't the DJ's, I was like, wow, I don't know anything about the mechanics of mixing or blending, but I just felt energy, and I'm like, I feel like I want to do this. So fast forwarding, like I said, I took lessons and then switched my business focus to do more like higher end events like weddings, corporates, and that type of thing. And I
Mhm.
migrated out of doing promotional work. And yeah, here I am, like now 10 years. I do, like I said, I do those three things. And the world I've been blessed to create for myself, even with the pandemic, is all around music and people.
Okay. So a few things I took from that. I took know your worth, right?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
didn't exactly. You knew what you were worth. Even back then, you were like, I'm not gonna get 28,000 a year. That's not worth it for me. So knowing your worth, knowing your value, that's one thing. That's amazing, right?
Hmm.
You also, and I'm trying to just remember because you said so much.
I wanted to get it all out.
um, Following your passion, right? You were driven to learn to follow your passion with music. Something about that moment, how you've resonated with it and you follow through to become a
Yeah,
DJ, right?
yeah,
So yeah, following your passion. I think that sometimes you don't know what position you might be in, and you might tap into something that you've never knew you had a skill for, right?
yeah.
So definitely,
Yeah, so I was going to say, with my music and leadership program now, this is what brings me a lot of joy. So all my life, I think the things that I always enjoyed doing is whenever I came into someone's space, I always wanted them to leave with a smile. So I'm a grown ass dude, right? But I have like a childlike heart, and I just want to see people smile. And I think all of my life I've been able to try to make a difference to people, which is like my community activism side. I've also seen my mom run home daycare and supporting families, and I feel like that ability of seeing how she worked and kind of being a servant to other people and supporting other people is definitely like a part of my DNA. So I think trying to make a difference to people and helping is something that naturally comes to me. And I think combining that with my love of music, I've been able to create this program where I feel like, hey, like, why don't I take something cool that I know? I mean, not even just youth, even adults, like music is intrinsic to every culture. So I know that generally wherever I go, I can't lose. If I'm going to enter a room and start talking about music, artists, or if I start playing music, etc., trying to tie it into something like a life lesson, I know that generally I'm going to probably have like 8 or 9 out of 10 people's attention
yeah,
because, again, everyone listens to music. Now, I may not be playing the right music you like, but at the same time, we're still on a common ground or bridge that
hmm
allows us to be able to have build a bridge and then move forward. So maybe I like Biggie Smalls and you like Drake, but then we can talk about, oh, well, why do you like that artist? And I'll tell you why I like my artist, right? And then we can build a bridge. And I feel that it helps us as facilitators when we go into schools and community to be able to use that common building block of music and then from there be able to like expand out and talk about different things, right?
definitely. And I just wanted to go back a little bit. You mentioned that you had, took the time to learn how to be a DJ. You took the lessons, and I think, with everything else that you do, the act of wanting to do something so bad that you're willing to take the time to learn how to do it, and I think that's really important. Um, so, what is your music academy? So you mentioned that you have a music academy. Tell us about how that started and who can be a part of it.
Well, I think so like the DJ Academy specifically, that kind of was born out of a necessity, I guess, as they always say, hustlers hustle. So I in my level of self-employment, I've had many hills and valleys. I guess there's more of an ascension now where I'm like building and growing as each year goes by. So the statistics of it takes your first 5 years of business to kind of really earn some income. That was true for me. I know it may be different for others, but it was true for me. And I had to, I guess, as they say, I had to learn more before I earn more. So I spent a lot of time reading, marketing, social media, and eventually things paid off. And unfortunately, probably 3 years ago, I was in a space where I wasn't getting the flow of gigs. As you know, as an entrepreneur, depending on what type of product or service you have, it's more of a linear business model. So it's like if you're not, not hunting, you're not eating. And if you're not able to capture anything, then you're going to starve. So I had to go to another company and do some subcontracting under them. I learned so many amazing things. But I said to myself, you know what? If this time, I said, if say it's 2016, I said, if 2017, the summer comes again and I'm in the same position, I didn't work hard enough or I didn't make the right moves. And so the
Mm-hmm.
same summer came. I asked this company for a bit of a pay raise. They kind of didn't really meet my demands, and I had to do a LeBron. I was like, I have to take my talents to South Beach, kind of believe in myself, and go in a different direction. So I was posting a lot of stuff, content about me being a DJ online, and a few people were hinting like, "Oh, it would be cool to learn." And do you do lessons? I was like, "Yeah, no, it's not really like my thing," and I'm just busy just doing gigs and stuff like that. And then I said to myself, you know what? Within a span of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it was like, I don't know, 3 to 4 people had asked me, and I was like, I think this is instruction from God that this is something that I should do. And I just kind of backtracked on like how I learned, and I kind of built a curriculum, and then I just put out a few flyers. And basically that summer I ended up having, I would probably say, like, I mean, it's 3 years ago, so my memory's a bit foggy, but I probably had about 5 to 7 students, which kind of carried me through carried me through summer. So the academy kind of got birthed out of just a desire necessity to, make some money at first, but then after I started seeing the impact I was having and being able to teach others the craft, it just really brought more enjoyment to me. So I started to like expand on what I was doing more and more and more. So that's kind of how
Mm-hmm.
that came to fruition.
Okay. So you mentioned community leadership, and with the music, the DJ Academy, my assumption is that you're teaching to kids or youth.
Yeah, so like there's I just wanted to differentiate because there's a side that I do privately, right? Which is like with could be young people, adults. Like my youngest person I've taught is 8, the oldest is someone in their 60s. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like private, usually obviously outside of school. And then there's the in-school program. So the in-school program is completely for students or young people in community. And yeah, we would generally go into a classroom and we would work with students or work with a certain youth demographic and work with them and bring them through a series of modules, teaching them early DJ history, teaching them about the culture, talking to them a little bit about how all this started. Hip
Mm-hmm.
hop in of itself started in August 11th, 1973. So it's less than 50 years old. So there's pioneers and people who birthed this art form and have allowed so many people to earn an income without that sort of master's degree level. There's people touring all over the world using their
Okay.
artistic talents. So that's something that we do in schools. Now with COVID having impacted us, we have been, pivoting is the popular term, is doing
Mm-hmm.
things virtually. So it's
Online.
been challenging in some cases, but we've been doing things in a virtual space. So that's how we've been able to continue.
How do you think music has shaped young people? I mean, I would say youth or even younger than that into being a better person.
I mean, I think there's, you know what I mean? I think every generation always sort of complains about the current generation's music, but
Mhm.
aside from that argument, which would be we'd be here all night talking, I think that music, if you look at it, what it does to your body physiologically, not to
Yes.
get too deep, but there's different chakras, right, of energy that we have as human beings, like our aura. And there's a reason why when certain music connects with you and that vibration, it would kind of get you to bounce with it or move, right? Or, all that kind of stuff, right? And so I think music, the research shows that music is a huge deal in terms of people's mental health. I know for me, if through the pandemic, if I wasn't able to play music, I have no idea where my mental state would be right now. I have no idea. Like, I'll get to that after. But I know that in terms of young people, people in general, music can help enhance mood. It can put you in brighter spirits. It can help you meditate. It can help you feel more positive. It can help you work out some aggression, right? When you're working out, right? So there's all these things. It can calm you, it can put you in a state of zen or peace or tranquility. I think music is something that allows us to have amazing conversations, comparing lyrics and artists and artistry and so many of these things. So, for me, it's like I have on my laptop, I'll maybe change my webcam after. I have this saying, music is everything, because it's that important to me. And I think music for the young people, particularly, is so richly steeped in their identity, right? If we were to dial the years back to when we were 15 to 21, did the new Tupac album dropped, the new Biggie dropped, oh, the new SWV, oh, Beanie Man just dropped something, oh, Shabba's out, or whatever the artist is. Like, it was so glued to our identity. It was like, what do you mean you didn't download, or not, we didn't download, but what do you mean you didn't get the cassette tape or the CD or the whatever, right? Like, what do you mean you didn't get it yet? What are you waiting for, right? It's like, you got to hear this, right? So music is richly, I think, with young people, definitely attached to their identity. And so I think music, like I said, is a very powerful tool that you
Yeah.
can use. And I also think that the youth, like, if you aren't sort of up on things, right? Like, they're gonna know right away. So music is like I said, it's a great way to build bridges. I always ask anybody, no matter what space I'm in, uh, if they have a favorite artist, because I like to learn about new artists. And even
Yeah.
though I'm a DJ, I'll be the first DJ to admit I don't know all the artists out there. I don't know all the songs. And so I'm always trying to add to my knowledge base of amazing artists out there.
Yes. And with that, music is everything. So I'm seeing all these swags all over the place, all these T-shirts that says "music is everything." You're wearing them, like you have other people are wearing them. How did that all started? What
Again,
inspired it? I mean, you kind of touched on it, I guess, but let's dive into it some more.
yeah, like, I think it was just trying to add another arm of business, right? I mean, you hear all the millionaires always talking about having multiple streams of income. So I was like, I just want to just share the message, and music is everything. So we have shirts out. You can get a hold of me for shirts and swag and all that kind of stuff. We're going to be relaunching the site, so we'll be having a lot more merchandise coming out, something I'm working on right now. But yeah, the idea is just to share the message, right? I think for a lot of people, the power of music, when you hear that favorite song, you'll remember what time of year it was, who you were with, what you were doing, the concert with your girlfriends, your boyfriend, your fiance, your husband, whatever, like, what part of the world you were in, right? Music has that type of association. Like I said, it's just very powerful, and to the point, actually, that music therapy. So, music is played a lot with people who, I believe it's Alzheimer's, which is where you forget. It's a vehicle that's used to help people remember things, right? Because the music triggers different things within the brain that really allow people to get reconnected to a moment in time that they remember. So music is used a lot in therapy, and also, I believe, speech therapy as well, to get people to talk, to say words of songs, right? So music, like I said, music is everything, and it's very, very powerful.
Yeah. So far in terms of business and music, you've been able to monetize your passion, it started with event planning. Then it went into DJing for weddings and corporate events.
Yeah.
Um, then the Music Academy, where you're teaching DJing to youth and adults, anyone who has an interest in learning how to DJ.
Yeah.
Then you went into merchandising,
Mhm.
having products, T-shirts, swags that you can buy with a strong, meaningful message that's in alignment with your passion. And yeah, so just wanted to really, for everyone who's listening, when you have a passion, there's various ways that you can monetize that passion and turn it into a business. And you just have to really figure out what your passion is, try to figure out which is the best direction to start in, and layer out different ways that you can get different revenue streams from it. And I think you did an amazing job of that.
Yeah, thank you. So we're working on like an online course as well. It would be like an introductory course. It's around 6 to 8 modules, and we'll be launching that as well. I'm going to put out in the universe that I'll have it launched in July. I've been doing that a
Okay.
lot lately, also for my own accountability. But yeah, I think like my message to maybe some of the youth or even other entrepreneurs is that part of my message is that it's never too late to start something new. So if you can
That's true.
imagine, this journey for me in terms of DJing started in 2007, and I look young, but I'm just shy of a few years under 50. And
Oh, I didn't know
so
that.
yeah, so I wanted this to really hit home, right? So as they say, black
Mhm.
doesn't crack, thank God. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I started this journey in my like early 30s, right?
Mhm.
Mid 30s. And so at a time when most DJs are saying, "Oh, there's no more gigs, there's no more work for me." I'm like, "Okay, I'm tired of doing this. Why don't I do DJing?" And everyone's looking at me like, "Huh?" Right? And so part of it with creating these other multiple streams of business was because I realized that even if I thought I was the best DJ in the world, there's over 45,000 weddings every
Yeah.
weekend, right? This is like a US figure. So obviously in Canada, let's say it's 20,000 or 10,000, right? So even if I thought I was the best DJ in the world, there's still say there's 10,000 weddings, there's still another 9,999 that need a DJ. And so, I can't split myself into millions of pieces to earn more income. So I have to find a way that I can replicate my earning potential by doing these other things to bring in more income. So that's part of the wheel. The program that I do in the school setting, like it is a fee for service program, and I know we've been focusing a lot on the DJ program, but we also do drumming, we also do spoken word, and we also do dance. So Love Music Initiative is I'm the lead, but I also work with some really amazing um, artistpreneurs that have really helped me along the journey and have been involved in really helping to shape the identity of Love Music Initiative. And so I really wanted to thank some of those people. I want to shout out Paulina O'Keefe Anthony, who's been really instrumental. We got Kadeem, we got Mr. Nigel, and a variety of other um, uh, artistpreneurs that I've had the privilege of being able to work with over the years, helping me out to do these different streams in pretty much at this point all the various school boards. So I've been in Durham, shout out to Helena, and I've also been in Peel, York, and also the TDSB doing this programming.
I noticed that it was the TDSB had. Did they approve it? They approved the program from what I've read.
Yeah, so I would say to some people who want to get more work that are out there is to contact, if you're in Toronto or Peel, wherever you are, contact their head office and
Hmm.
learn more about how you can become an approved vendor. So being an approved vendor is a bit of a rigorous process. My curriculum that I'm doing, so we basically do 6, 12, and 18-week modules where we go in and again teach DJing, drumming, dance, or spoken word. So the idea is that after the 6 sessions, we have a culminating task. And a culminating task is all this teacher speak that I had to learn is a way for the young people to be able to showcase what they learn. So obviously, because we honor the young people, we want to support them, we want them to be able to put their best foot forward. We have to really work with them in a very systematic way to kind of get them from point A to Z, kind of holding their hand, boosting their confidence, building that rapport and trust, that now when we leave them on their own to perform a DJ routine, a drum routine, or whatever, they have that confidence. And so we have to make sure that our curriculum matches some of the teaching threads that the school boards are looking for, because I could just come in and play music, but it's like, what's the benefit to the student, right? Other than just hearing music that they like. So again, with even DJing, there's STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, and math, right? There's literacy, right? We have to read the manuals to know how things work. There's math. We have to count. There's like a metronome of the beat when it's going by, like a boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, cha. We have to be able to count bars to be able to mix and blend at the appropriate spot. We have to understand phrasing. We have to understand beat patterns and rhythms and doing different intonation. It involves like physiology, like gym, fitness, hand-eye coordination. So there's all these things that you have to make sure that are in your lesson plan, that when you hand it to an educator, that they can see the value in it. And I think one thing that I've learned, and I'm still learning, is that if you're stumped not getting enough work, or you're not getting in the right circles, we have to kind of think about providing I want to say this properly, but if we want to make more money, we have to be able to solve a bigger problem. That means that we have to present a bigger solution. So I know that within the school setting, that sadly, based on the population of student generally being very mixed, and particularly with Black students, which is my focus, compared to the people teaching them, which are predominantly white, I already know that there's already a dynamic based on race, age, intellectual level, because one has a master's, one is still learning. There's all these isms and barriers that are already there. So I know unless the face of education changes and the curriculum changes where that's more evened out, I always know that, and sadly, there's going to be this power imbalance. And so what's happens then is that teachers reach out to me saying, hey, we need something that's more cool, more engaging, more inclusive, and really speaks to our young people. Ding, 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 ding. That's where music comes in, right? And we're able to teach leadership and mentorship through a really cool lens, which is arts-based programming.
Amazing. And I love all of it, right?
Thank you. It's taken a long while to get here. I don't know if I sound polished or not, but I've had a lot of people frustratingly pour a lot into me to get me to this point. So again, a lot of reading, knocking on doors, asking a lot of questions. Like I wasn't maybe this polished 10 years ago.
Yeah. And it takes discipline and, always knowing what your goals are and striving for it to really, it changes who you are, I think.
No, absolutely.
LMI, Love Music Initiative. You've mentioned so much about it. I'm interested in the spoken words and, drumming, all of that. Rewinding back, how did it start? And
wow.
yeah.
Well, so I mean, I'm gonna make sure if he's not watching, I'll tag him in this later. So Randy Reed, DJ Manifest, he is one of my first mentors. He worked with me at the Boys and Girls Club, and also is the station manager at Vibe 105 at York University. And I really owe a lot of my success to him, because the understanding of pedagogy, I had no idea what this meant. And so if you Google it quickly, what it is just a pedagogical approach is a way in which you share information, but it's broken down into incremental bite-sized chunks so that you don't overwhelm the learner or the audience. And he's the first person that really helped me and kind of got me to sit down and we were just sketching things the night before, like from literally a napkin onto like pieces of paper. And I went over like an approach of how I would share this passion and joy I have of music. And what I did was I created a my longest standing workshop and most popular is called From the Drum to the DJ. And what From the
Nice.
Drum to the DJ is it's a workshop where we're essentially connecting the migration of sound. So we know that the first beat is the heartbeat, and from there was the drum. And from the drum, as African people, due to either migration willingly or sadly because of enslavement, as African people spread all over the world and music changed, we kind of go through like a history showing how, as our people, our ancestors moved all over the world, how the music changed. And then we connected all the way to this. So the bass, tone, and slap of the drum, the djembe drum, is now the bass kick snare of the digitized music. It's the same beat, it's just now synthesized. And so we just draw this connection from point A to Z and fill it in from A to Z with historical figures showing the migration of sound. And I remember the first time I sat and did this workshop, I had two drummers, I had my DJ gear, and I remember playing music, and then the kids came in. It was like
Wow.
150 kids. So my first workshop was with 150 kids. I had 300 eyeballs just staring at me, waiting on my every word, and we kind of pieced it through and made it work. And now that workshop is our most popular workshop. So I've revamped, changed, reshifted things around the workshop, but it's I think very popular because we're able to condense a lot of information within that time that we're doing a workshop in a gym, and we get kids to clap and dance and stomp and ask questions, and we point them out. So we make it like kind of like it's like a mini production. We try to make it very interactive. So I guess for people maybe trying to envision what it would look like is if you were to go to a movie, but then the lead artist comes out of the screen and says, "What do you think I should do next?" And then jumps in his car and races off or something, or does something in the movie. So that's kind of what we're trying to do, is make this program really live and breathe and really make it interactive. And I think our approach works. A lot of people would like to book us for the workshops, and we get a lot of compliments how the young people are very engaged within the 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes that we spend with them. So we're very grateful that we've been able to find something that is able to kind of get through to the young people in a really fun way. Um, yeah, and
Amazing.
I don't want to long talk it too much. I did want to add this other point that I think is really essential, is that because I've been working in community for over 20 years, if you're someone watching the podcast right now and you're working in community, or you're looking for people to come in and deliver some impact, I think you want to find people that, if you can, like, they're not so far removed from the work. And I think that young people, the one thing I've always said, they'll tell you if they like you or not. You don't have to try to pretend or start using fam and bro and like all these young people terms. You don't have to try to fit in. You can just be yourself. And if you show up as yourself enough times, the youth are either going to diss you completely, or they're going to love you for being who you are. And particularly if you're passionate about what you're doing, it's going to come across, and you're going to win people over, right? And so I think that for me, being able to stand up in front of an audience as a Black male entrepreneur doing something that's artistic, that's not like the traditional path that a lot of students are encouraged to go through, I really hope that that has a profound impact on people, that they can say, wow, like, I can do something with a creative talent I have, and here's proof positive of someone doing it, right? And I have other mentors around me that do other thing. I know that you had Dwayne Morgan on the podcast. Robert Small is also a mentor. He paints the official Black History Month poster.
Oh yeah.
Paulina O'Keefe Anthony, she's an amazing entrepreneur, mompreneur, artistpreneur, she boss. She does spoken word workshops. So there's like so many amazing examples. Mr. Nigel, he's worked with our program. He drums all over Southern Ontario, working with Long and McQuaid, doing drum clinics. You know what I mean? So when we bring people in, it's not like, yeah, well, when I drummed 15 years ago, it's like, no, like I actively do this right now, and I feel like that energy, it just really translates differently. So I just wanted to share that because I feel like that authenticity is what I think really pulls in the youth, right? That you're
Yeah.
working with.
So tell us about the GoFundMe and the initiative that you're raising right now, and
Yeah.
how can people get involved?
Yeah. Again, this is something that I put in the universe. I was talking about doing something for a while. I'll be honest, as a solopreneur, the funds to execute a fundraiser in the traditional way was just too expensive. And one of the bright spots out of COVID was that we took the fundraising onto this platform called Twitch, which I've been DJing on for the last year. And I've been able to meet so many amazing DJs from around the globe. And I decided that I would create sort of a DJ-a-thon, if you will. And so last week, Friday, starting at noon, all the way ending with me Saturday night, June 5th at 10, we had one DJ playing, we had a mixologist, and we just basically had each person kind of merging after their set, kind of handing it off to the next DJ. So prior to the fundraiser, our goal was 10 grand. Prior to the fundraiser even starting, thank you God, we had 2,500 earned. And at current standpoint right now, I think we're at $4,600. That's just on the GoFundMe. But I had a couple of people hit me up on the side, in particular, someone in the city who probably wants to remain anonymous, but really believed in the program, has seen me work over the years, and made a very substantial donation. So I would say that right now we're just shy with some DJ contributions, some email transfers. We're just shy of under 6 grand. So yeah, it's been honestly on my stream. If you watch my replay, people think I'm a tough guy. I played football for many years, and everyone says men don't cry, but I got really emotional because when I think back to where I was a year ago, if you could imagine at the beginning of this podcast, I said I would do easily 150 events a year, ranging in all kinds of shapes and fashions. And when this pandemic hit and they're like, we're going to extend March break, and then people are like, oh, we're canceling, it was just like, oh my gosh, like, what is happening? Like, it was like the entire rug was pulled out from underneath me. So to see from that point to now, where I built up a following on Twitch, I'm at around 830 people now, friends and people all over the world. I've been able to interact with all these amazing DJs, and to have those DJs participate in this and to believe in the program was really huge. I can't name all of the DJs, but I just wanted to say that the caliber of DJ, just to name drop a few of the more known, not saying that the others aren't important. We had Four Corners, the Raptors official DJ, on. We had DJ Agile on, a longtime friend. He's produced for Nas and Redman. We've had DJ Grouch on, who is like a turntable champion. These are DJs that have been long-standing in the industry, and then a whole slew of so many other amazing special event DJs, mobile DJs, guys that I spend a lot of time talking about the event mobile industry around, and they all pitched their time, sacrificed an hour, and played sets. So I'm internally grateful, and I'm blown away by the generosity of people. And one of my other little sayings now is, thank God for Wi-Fi, because without it, I don't know, we wouldn't even be talking right now, you and I, Banki, right? So thank God for Wi-Fi, because it's brought us through this pandemic.
I'm in the middle of nowhere. Out in like You know where you Sutton West, Sutton, Ontario.
Wow, I didn't Sutton. Where is that? That's like north of Stouffville. Where is that?
Yes, it's north of Stouffville. Taking the 4-4 till it ends.
Oh, I know exactly where you are. Isn't that like Georgina?
Yes, around there. Yes.
Okay, so I had I had I had a friend who moved there. We used to live in East York together, and he moved up there. And I'm like, "So where do you live now?" He's like, "Oh, Georgina." I'm like, "Georgina?" I'm like, "Where is that?" He goes, "Okay." So he's like, "What you do is," he goes, "you get on the 404, and then you take it all the way until it ends." I said, "It ends? Like I've never even been that high up."
So that's pretty much where it is. So when you say thank God for Wi-Fi, really, definitely.
Absolutely.
Just want to just go through the comments, and then we'll let everyone know how they can contact you.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
if my producer, rhythm, pattern, and connection, definitely. Love Music Initiative, yes, and thank God for Wi-Fi.
It's the hashtag, man. I'm telling you, like,
Yeah.
if I always say it on my stream. I'll be streaming later tonight at 9. I do a show called Tropical Thursdays. We do Afrobeat, soca, and reggae. And I say to them all the time, thank God for Wi-Fi. If it wasn't for Wi-Fi, I'd just be a guy in my studio, just DJing into the walls. Like no one would know what I do. So I'm so grateful. And we had DJs on the Twitch stream in particular from like San Fran, from Ottawa, from Montreal, all throughout Toronto, Durham, Saga, Brampton. Like it's just been amazing. It's been amazing. And then even teaching lessons. I had a student who was in Alabama.
Oh,
I've done people locally. And so it's just wild, right? And being able to connect with uh, long-standing individuals who've been in the DJ game for a long time. And I again, just another nugget is that in my day, again, sharing my age, I'm under 50. I didn't have the internet when I was a teen, right?
yeah.
Um, if I wanted to reach someone, you had to call them, right?
Mhm.
Now we can DM someone, we can tweet them, we
Mhm.
can do whatever to get a retweet or find a way to connect them. We could, whatever you do on TikTok or Snapchat. Like there's so many ways in which you can reach out to an influencer or someone that you admire for advice. And I know for myself, particularly with DJs and stuff and artists, like I message them on Twitter. I'm very active and I kind of par with them and I comment on things and I ask them questions or I chime in on something. And you'd be surprised that if you do it enough times, you kind of, I'm assuming, become a bit of a familiar face to them, that sometimes they respond, or if
Yeah.
your question is a really great question, then they're gonna respond, right? So
That's
take advantage of the technology in a good way and not just aimlessly scrolling for hours on end, and then it's like 3 hours went by, but you've not done anything for yourself to maybe put yourself in a different position. Not saying that there's not anything wrong with aimless social media activity, but if it's all you're doing all the time and then you're kind of complaining saying, I wish that things would be better for me, let's figure out how we can make use of the time in a different way.
that is so true, and thank you so much for saying that. Before we end the show, how can everyone get in contact with you?
Well, I guess in terms of Love Music Initiative, um, you can find us at Love Music Initiative on IG, and the
Hmm.
website is lovemusicinitiative.com. And we're going to close the GoFundMe tomorrow at 8.
Okay.
I wasn't too sure of like what the fundraising etiquette was because this is like really my first personal fundraiser, but
Mm.
we decided to leave it open for an extended period of time because some people, their money situation wasn't right, payday, this, that, or the third, and so some people wanted to make an additional donation, and I'm so glad we did because we officially ended the DJ activity Saturday, but on Sunday we still received $600. The last couple of days, we received another 150. I have another e-transfer coming for 250. So if you're watching right now, I will take any denomination of money, $10, 20, 50, 1,000, 500, 10,000, whatever it is. Every little bit helps. And I want everyone to know that 100% of the proceeds will be going towards buying DJ kits so that the youth can have their own individual kit now. Because if we're going virtual again, then they can each have it on the Zoom at their home. And also, we're trying to buy drums. So, West African drums, the djembe drums, we're trying to buy so that young people will be able to have their own kit or drum at their house. So, 100% of the proceeds will be going to purchasing equipment. It's not on staffing, it's not giving honorariums. It's strictly to buy this equipment. So, I'm blown away that we're literally at almost $6,000, and I'm so appreciative that people believe in the work that Love Music Initiative is doing, and also just can relate that the mental health of young people is stretched. They're zoomed out, Google Meeted out. You know, the amount of screen time on average, probably prior to COVID, was what, like 3 to 5 hours. I mean, now it's probably double, if not triple the time, right? Because we're not able to go anywhere because of COVID, right? So, um, so that's how people can get a hold of me. If you want shirts, merch, or you want to get lessons, at Love Music Initiative on IG, or again, lovemusicinitiative.com. Emailing me, Benjamin at Love Music Initiative, is the best way to reach me to pursue anything with us. So yeah, we thank you.
Okay. More Job says, keep up the good work. And he had said something earlier about the youth. Support the youth. They're the lifeline of the future.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And
Definitely.
if I know who More Jobs is, everyone needs to follow. Everyone needs to follow him. If I think I know who it is, need to follow this guy. This guy has been like one of the staples in community for sure. What are we? For sure over 15 years, because I think we met in the late 2000s, and someone who definitely has connected thousands of individuals to jobs and is very passionate about what they do. So I want to give you your flowers, More Jobs. So if you're on this, make sure you follow him. He does great work.
Okay. Benjamin, thank you so much for being here with us today. I love everything that you're doing, everything that you have done in the past. So thank you for spending your time with us today on the Takeout Effect, brought to you by Business Takeout. And yeah, for everyone who's watching right now, if you enjoyed this show, everyone else needs to enjoy it too. So please feel free to share it, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And yeah, thank you everyone, and thank you Benjamin for being with us today. We learned a lot about the Love Music Initiative, and music is everything. So have
Yes.
a good night.
Thank you for having me. And I also wanted to just big you up as well. I know that doing a podcast requires a lot of energy. So I appreciate you. And I know a lot of other people do, in terms of the internal fuel to make something like this happen. And
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that you've allowed me to have this space to kind of share my passion, but more importantly, the impact that we're trying to make with the youth. So you also keep up the great work. And if there's any way I can support you doing this in future guests or whatever, let me know. I know that these things are passion projects. So yeah, thanks to the Business Takeout for what you guys do.
Thank you so much. Bye everyone.
Take care.